Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of KPW War Zone. It is I, Tavy Styles, calling the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And we are in the fallout of what transpired last weekend. We are, of course, talking about Collision Course. A night of shock, a night of awe, plenty of returns, plenty of debuts. A real shakeup of the landscape here in KPW as we proceed to move forward towards our final monthly special event of the year. December 27th, TOXICITY will be the battlegrounds for Pando as he chooses to defend his World Heavyweight Championship against one of 10 potential challengers in our main event here tonight, a 10-man battle royal to determine the next #1 contender for the KPW World Heavyweight Championship. As recent records have shown, as the wave of momentum has shown to benefit these four men that we can see here. We have Popcorn Poppy, we have The Sauce, we have Pierre Cinema, and we have Corey Sinclair all confirmed for the 10-man battle royal. But what is also confirmed, even more championship implications to come. As coming up very soon in the evening, we'll be seeing a tag team championship contender, where it will be The Scheme, Bloom, Bilko, the now very closely associated ties to the director Steven Gilbert, compromising a collective that we have come to find out is known as the Studio. The Scheme will be looking to bring something home to the Studio as part of the tag team division as they look to take on Bam Dardino, Ricky Rhombus, the BamBus, as they aim to get some serious track of redemption after quite a tumultuous summer and honestly an even worse fall for them. We've seen the rise of the BamBus, we've seen the fall, and tonight could be the start of them possibly making a rise once again. But if we're going to talk about rising to the occasion, look no further, because later on tonight we also have the KPW American Championship on the line. First time ever, the heartthrob Popo will be rising to the occasion in this David versus Goliath bout, as the Goliath in this occasion, the 300-pound misfit, the incumbent KPW American Champion Bawb, will be defending that championship at a moment's notice. But before we get to that, we have some exhibition action to kick off this evening with, as the Diamond Dragon takes on the role model Opulence. Will be going one-on-one against Tape. We've seen a real shakeup in the Twitch division. We saw it unfold at Collision Course last Saturday night. The Sauce walked into that event as the Twitch champion. He did not walk away with that championship belt around his waist. It is instead on the waist of the King of Illusions, Mr. Rey Illusion. We have no clue what that man's identity might be. We have no clue how he even obtained the credentials to compete in that division, to compete for that belt. Despite the open challenge rules, the Twitch Championship, there are still prerequisites that have to be met to compete in that division. And these two men in the squared circle here tonight, looking to slug things out to kick off War Zone. They have those very credentials. Opulence in the black and yellow, Tape in the yellow and red. Waistlock transition, quarter-rack neck breaker from Tape. What an explosive start to this bout. Opulence was thinking a gourd buster, but Tape had that one scouted. Opulence, quite the newcomer here in KPW, one of the newest signees in recent memory. Diamond Dragon having 2 matches so far. Both of them against the director, Steven Gilbert, a man that cannot be any less pleased about how the weekend has turned out for him. It must have been a real rotten, a real spoiled Thanksgiving weekend for that man. Not only was he unable to defeat Pierre Cinema, not only was he unable to unearth that blackmail that he supposedly had on the man, but he had to deal with the intervention of one man that returned at Collision Course. A man that has opted to be a guardian angel of sorts, of vigilante. A man that was putting himself in quite a similar position as Opulence over the past several weeks. The man they call Ding is back in KPW. We have no idea what his motives are and why he chose this specific time to make his presence felt. Power bomb rolling over into a bridge, and Tape almost ran away with that W here tonight. Regal Plex from Tape, dumping Opulence onto his neck. A former KPW Tag Team Champion is Tape. Oh man has ran with that belt for as long and as hard as he did with his then tag team partner Bawb. A man that we'll be seeing in action coming up next as he defends his American Championship against Popo. Headlock takeover from Tape. Tape firmly in control of this bout, folks. He's thinking prescription bottle, that patented gonzo bomb. And what a filthy landing that is. The human body, the spinal cord is, your vertebrae is not meant to compress like that. Break. And Tape had to have known about the position that Opulence was in, that in-ring awareness. Tape is definitely taking some sort of enjoyment out of beating the brakes out of Opulence here tonight. Dropping him with 2 prescription bottles back to back. Arm breaker from the role model, and what a facetious name that is for a man like Tape. And all the time that we've seen him here in KPW, who's shown himself to be anything but. Back suplex reversal from Opulence, trying to shift the momentum back in his favor. Tape having an answer consistently throughout this bout for anything that Opulence tries to mount up here. Another Regal Plex. Opulence, he is just struggling to get back to his 2 feet here tonight. This has just been a lesson, a very painful lesson for the Diamond Dragon here. Gourd Buster from Opulence. Opulence looking for that cyclone strike. Arm drag. Mercy of Opulence. Irish whip from Tape. Tape looking to meet in the middle, and what a vicious clothesline that was from Tape. Snap DDT. And one has to think, this has to be it. This has to be it. Third time is the charm. And Tape marches out of here with a dominant victory over Opulence. Almost a completely one-sided affair here to kick off Warzone. And the cold, unforgiving temperatures that are approaching as we get closer and closer to the end of the year, as we get closer and closer to Toxicity. Who knows how much the landscape could still change in 2025. We get another look at this third definitive and final prescription bottle. Just such a disgusting landing for any human being to take. Not like there was any doubt after he put Opulence down to really seal in the deal. That insult to injury, he hooks the leg after that third prescription bottle. Whatever is on the mind of the role model, he knows very well that he could get back into that Twitch championship chase in no time. And that is definitely something that Ray Elucion is gonna have to look out for. Begrudgingly, congratulations to the role model on such a dominant victory here tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, for the first time ever, we'll be seeing the American Championship up for grabs. The Misfit takes on the Heartthrob, the incumbent, the inaugural KPW American Champion Bawb goes one-on-one against Bunker Hill's very own Popo. We saw Popo make his presence felt 2 weeks ago on Warzone at the official unveiling of the KPW American Championship. I thought he was gonna have the night off. He thought he was gonna have that moment to celebrate. And then Popo, he stormed the party. He crashed it and he dropped the champion with 2 Texas T's. That patented super kick, showing to the world just how quickly he could stop things on a dime. Here comes the American champion. It was just 2 weeks ago that we were calling this man the KPW Hardcore Champion. That is part of an initiative led by the KPW Board of Directors. Making note of the protocol that was being enforced over the past several months, over the course of KPW's history. They deemed that Hardcore Championship unnecessary. The charge against the heartthrob. Popo looking to steal things with a crucifix pin. Irish whip. But Bawb hangs on to the ropes. Popo with a quick jab. Takes him aback. Shoulder block into the corner. And if Popo's gonna have any sort of fighting chance to make history here tonight, he needs to be in firm control of this bout. He cannot give Bawb that much of an opportunity. The margin for error for the heartthrob is very, very slim. Heavy haymaker from Bawb, but Popo retaliates with a low blow. Popo, big pile driver. Both men thinking to run the ropes, and they meet in the middle. Noggin knocker between the heartthrob and the misfit, the challenger and the champion. Irish whip reversal. Bawb gets sent flying into the turnbuckle. Popo with a running start. Bawb launches him in the air with a hellacious spine on the pine, and he looks to follow it up with an STF. Break. Heavy haymakers from the champion. Popo picking his opportunities to strike. Snap jabs left, right, and center. Bawb going right for that illegal chokehold. The referee can't do anything about it. Popo ascending to the top rope. Looking to utilize some aerial offense. Missile drop kick takes down the champion. And look at Popo taking the time to showboat here. Both of these men, quite apropos, just dressed for the occasion. Both of these men in some serious prime condition here tonight. Looking like $1,000,000. German suplex attempted by Bawb. Popo lands on his feet. Popo tries to go for a waist lock, and Bawb catches him with a reverse armbar, taking him right to the mat as quickly as possible. Popo ramming Bob's face into that top turnbuckle. Irish whip from one corner of the ring to the other. Popo thinking a quick pin here. And a kick out at one. Irish whip goes. The challenger, Popo, now backing Bawb up into the corner. Looking to go for another Irish whip, trying to exhaust the big man. And what a solid strategy this is from the heartthrob. Bawb looking to drape the neck of Popo over that top rope, and he succeeds. Big hip drop onto the challenger. Reverse DDT from Bawb as he picks up Popo. Pulling him over the top rope and down to the floor. Popo taking the fight right to Bawb as he struggled to get to his feet there. Irish whip right into the steel steps. As we hear a heavy crash and burn from the heartthrob, Popo. 14. Out of 14. Popo gets back to the apron, looking for another missile drop kick. And what an awkward angle that was for the champion. Taking 2 boots right to the temple. It's a miracle he's even conscious right now. Popo thinking a forearm strike. Bawb ducks it. Hip toss from the challenger. Spinning back elbow from Popo. Popo getting right back on the offense here. Mounting a flurry of punches over the champion. Bawb and Popo jostling for position. Knife edge shot knocks back the challenger even for just a moment. Another hip toss from Popo, however. Quick jab takes down the champion. And what a haymaker from Bawb.
2,
Decking Popo, sending him careening over that top rope and down to the floor. And now Bawb looking to meet him on the outside here. What the hell is he thinking?
7.
What does this man possibly have in mind for Popo? Popo's gonna have to fight like hell
11.
to make sure Bawb doesn't get his plans seen to fruition.
13.
And now it's Popo sending Bawb to the outside.
2.
Popo feeling a bit froggy here. Big plancha down to the floor.
6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11.
A side kick to the
12.
kidneys of Bawb.
13.
He struggles to get back to his
14.
feet. That was one hell of a blow
15.
from Popo. Hip toss, lateral press, looking to steal it. And Bob's back up at 2. Irish whip sending Bawb all the way across the ring once again. Bawb instinctively got the boot up, thinking that Popo would be right behind him, trailing right behind him. And Popo pumped the brakes that time, trying to stay one step ahead of the champion.
3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8.
And Popo, he is just letting those forearms
10.
fly here
11.
as he continues to push back against the champion. Bawb getting sent right into the guardrail and then right into the steel steps.
16.
Popo is fighting like hell here tonight to bring some gold home to Bunker Hill. Another choke from Bawb. Bob's starting to get a bit desperate here. Irish whip. Bawb launching over Popo as he drops down. And now Bob's in control. Irish whip from Bawb, but Popo hangs onto the ropes. Popo grabbing onto the hair of Bawb, wrenching him in with a headlock. Popo thinking a missile dropkick once again. Bawb runs underneath him. Nobody home for the heartthrob.
1.
And Bob's doing whatever he can to buy himself some time here. Bawb looking for that senton down to the floor. And Popo moved at just the last
6.
second.
7. 8. 9. 10.
Bawb put himself in a real precarious position. We know that his kidneys,
13.
they've been bruising quite seriously
15.
over the duration of this bout. And I can't imagine that attempted senton down to the floor. I can't imagine that's gonna feel any good, regardless if he hit that move or not. Back suplex to Popo. And it seems like Bob's regaining some control here. Popo knows that he has to act quick if he wants any sort of chance of survival here tonight. Popo ramming Bob's head into the ring post.
3, 4,
And what a nasty tumble that was
5,
for the champion. Forearm down to the floor.
7, 8, 9.
And Popo, you can tell he's got that champion's mentality. We've seen him obtain the hardcore championship when it was still a championship that was actively defended. We saw this man become a Twitch champion. He's been in contention for the World Heavyweight Championship several times. If anybody's got the right mentality to be a champion, it's certainly the Heartthrob. But he's got one hell of a challenge in front of him here tonight, and he's at least got a decent mentality. The real test here is if he has the endurance. Whatever offense Bawb has been able to mount up, will it be enough to put down Popo here at War Zone? Big clubbing strike from Bawb. And this man has consistently been a champion ever since Sabotage in August. Figure 4 from Popo. Bawb won the KPW Hardcore Championship from Corey Sinclair back in August. He held on to that championship ever since, and now he holds that fated position in history as the last ever KPW Hardcore Champion. Big splash from Popo. Bawb in quite the position now as the first ever American champion, now making the first ever defense of said championship. But he's not in good shape at all right now. Popo tuning up the band. Texas T, but Bawb catches the leg. We didn't catch it this time. Texas T. Popo's thinking on the fly here.
1, 2, 3.
And Popo has stolen the American Championship away from the Misfit. I think even the Heartthrob was taken aback for just a moment that Bawb was getting right back up from that Texas T, that patented super kick of the Heartthrob. Popo having to improvise, having to think on the fly, having to make the most out of his opportunities. Goes for the schoolboy, puts all the pressure that he can over the legs of the now former American champion. And Popo marches out of the forum here tonight. The new KPW American champion. And if we want to talk about championship opportunities, look no further, because coming up next we will be seeing two teams vie for a contendership bout at Toxicity as the BamBus take on The Scheme in tag team action. As I understand, production, trucks in the back, they have procured some special footage here regarding one of the challengers in our battle royal still to come in our main event. The King of Stego Style, Mr. Corey Sinclair. Hoping to get a peek into the mind of Corey Sinclair ever since that hellacious barbed wire brawl, one that he walked away from.
I got what I wanted. I fought for the victories and the glory that I deserved. Chris Billy is never going to come back the same man he was before. I killed that giant. If I can take down a man of that size, if I can prove to the world that I am fearless, I need to take this company by the balls with an iron fist and become its eternal champion. Think about what you've given up to do this, Corey. You've lost your reputation, respect, pride, and all you have left to show for it is ego and statistics. You threw so much away, and look at everything you've achieved already in KPW. A former Twitch champion, a 3-time hardcore champion. The people didn't forget how you fought with such honor and dignity. The code of chivalry and that sharp wit is what made you the man that you are today. And you're going to throw that all out the window? Legacy is never discussed in the present tense. I need to look into the future. I've spent too much time before allowing others to cut the line and have the world handed to them on the silver platter. A collection of secondary championships may work for you, but when I look in that mirror, I see the man that was comfortable being second best in life. There's a battle royal tonight on War Zone. Somebody is going to fight Pando for the world title at TOXICITY. Because of this, if you think change is going to happen because shaking hands and kissing babies is what gets you this far, then you're always going to be trapped in that frame. And I'm not going to let you dictate my future any longer. Because when Pando's time runs out, my time begins.
What a peek into the twisted mind of the king of Stego style, Corey Sinclair. It seemed like he was having a conversation with himself, his own conscience in the mirror. And I think he's well aware that the Corey Sinclair of yesterday might not approve of the methods that Corey Sinclair utilized to get this far. But only time will tell if Corey Sinclair will have the skill set to overcome 9 other men in that main event battle royal. And speaking of skill sets, we're looking at 2 of the most skilled tag teams across all of KPW here tonight. The BamBus, Ricky Rhombus, Bam Dardino. We're gonna reclaim some of their former glory. We're going to achieve at TOXICITY what they have yet to achieve before as a functioning tag team. Become tag team champions. And the Scheme is in quite a similar position. They have yet to win the gold as well, but they've made some serious strides in the past month. They've joined that what seemed to be a temporary alliance with the director, Steven Gilbert. It seems like it's been quite beneficial for both parties, as they both aim to elevate themselves to a much higher profile here in KPW. Ricky Rhombus with the overhead strike to Bilko, making the tag to Bam Dardino, BamBus in their signature blue and green. Scheme in their signature red and black attack. Boardbuster attempted. Bam Dardino reversed it into a back body drop. And the history that these two men, Ricky Rhombus, Bam Dardino, it's been quite complicated over the course of this year. Ricky Rhombus pretty much kicked off the year as a hardcore champion. He was enjoying the fruits of his labor. Bam Dardino, prior to putting together the BamBus, he had no championship glory. He never came close to being a champion until he won the lethal lottery match back at Spring Stampede. He would hold on to that briefcase for months. He would cash it in on his former best friend Pierre Cinema back in the summer, and he would go down in history, quite possibly not in the way that he would like to remember it, as he may be one of the few who have ever held the KPW World Heavyweight Championship, but nobody has held that World Championship for as short as Bam Dardino did. In just less than 2 weeks, he lost that championship to our current World Heavyweight Champion, Pando, in a record-setting 86 seconds. A stretch of time that feels like it lasts forever. A night that completely and constantly replays in the mind of the BamBus, as they did everything to try and circumvent that night from happening. They are poised to be the future of KPW. They had such high hopes and such a strong wave of momentum before it all came crashing down for them at Euphoria, when Pierre Cinema teamed up with his arch nemesis, the Viceroy Jedi, in a 60-minute Iron Man tag team bout. The overwhelming get even with the BamBus. I understand that Jedi's in a real serious condition after the events of Collision Course. That was one hellacious main event bout between himself and the world champion Pando. A bloody affair, a brutal affair to be forever recognized in the history books. Rear naked choke from Bilko, as he looks to etch his name in the history books as part of the scheme. Bam Dardino gets in the tag. A smart play by the BamBus, a smart play by Ricky Rhombus in particular. Taking no time to waste here, as he tags in the fresher of the two men. 30-minute time limit in effect for tag team bouts here. And there is a serious opportunity waiting in the balance for another tag team. If these two men, if these two teams to go to a time limit draw, the opportunities, it's just astounding. It'll take your breath away. I think the Kumite faithful here tonight, they see the potential in the BamBus. They knew that Bam Dardino, Ricky Rhombus, they had the talent to boot. Their ambitions were quite high for the duration of 2025. But perhaps this could be the start of something completely new for the BamBus. This could be a hard reset for them. Serious humble beginnings here. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Bilko on the prowl here. Bam Dardino diverting his attention to Bloom, but Bloom's not the legal man. And look at the situation he just placed himself by allowing the Scheme to distract him for just 1 second. He's not in the wrong for trying to keep both of these men in his eyesight at all times, but he should have kept his eyesight on the legal man throughout that encounter. Ricky Rhombus, however, making a tag, single leg Boston Crab on Bilko. Bridging German suplex. Referee slap by Jones, trying to regain control of the ring here. And Ricky Rhombus, perhaps he's not quite as humble as Bam Lardino seems to be here tonight. Still taking the time to hot dog and grandstand and showboat to the faithful here tonight. Never want to get too far ahead of yourself when you're dealing with a team as shifty, as nefarious, as underhanded as the Scheme. Perfect underlings to the director, Steven Gilbert, a man that we are understanding has somehow weaseled his way into the main event here tonight. A 10-man World Heavyweight Championship Contenders Battle Royal. The winner of that Battle Royal will be advancing to Toxicity to challenge Pando for the World Heavyweight Championship. Pandemonium inside and out of the ring. Bilko taking the fight right to Ricky Rhombus. Bloom buying him all the time in the world as he takes the fight right to Bam Lardino.
16.
Out of 17. Are the Scheme gonna take a count-out victory? Ricky Rhombus, he's in danger. He needs to rush back into that ring.
20.
And the Scheme have pulled the rug from underneath the BamBus. The Scheme is going to Toxicity. Referee's trying to separate both tag teams. Pandemonium breaking out at ringside. Security rushes down to break things up and escort both of them to the back. What could have been a strong night of redemption for the BamBus has turned into something completely disastrous. The Scheme making the most out of their opportunities, looking to advance to Toxicity, take on the Murder Hornets for the KPW Tag Team Championships. You know, Wasp and Mosquito, they gotta be watching quite closely. They know what kind of tricks the Scheme might have in the bag. But if the Scheme want to become tag team champions, it's gonna take a whole lot more than a count-out victory to seal the deal. Coming up next, our main event of the evening, a 10-man battle royal. And oddly enough, we see our resident interviewer Roger marching down to ringside, hoping to get a word with one of the entrants in this bout before the ring can fill up, before anything can get underway. Let's get some cameras rolling on what Roger has in mind here at ringside.
Ladies and gentlemen, my guest here tonight is a man that's been searching for a perfect moment to strike. A man that's been on quite the hunt from the moment he bursted on the scene. Please welcome the hard-boiled Kabuki.
Kabuki! looking for that golden opportunity here tonight. This is going to be one hell of a situation for Kabuki. If he can outlast 9 other men to get the #1 contendership here, but what does Roger have to say?
We've seen some serious changes to the KPW landscape. And with that comes the conversations of championship glory. Ray Illusion as Twitch champion. Popo is now our American champion. Who will you direct your focus on first?
And what the hell is this Ding? Ding making his presence felt once again. We were hoping we were going to get some sort of explanation here. And I thought it was quite obvious that Kabuki wanted to go for the World Heavyweight Championship. And Kabuki, he's feeling frustrated. In a bit of a warm-up, toss a Ding out of the ring. Ding with the low blow. This man's been acting as quite the vigilante. We've seen quite a different side of this man ever since Collision Course. Dinger splash in the corner. Going for a second Dinger splash. A question on everybody's mind, why did Ding pick Collision Course to make his presence felt? Who is he acting as a guardian angel for? Ding just on the offense. This is a completely different side of this man that we haven't seen before. It's like a whole new man altogether. Since we saw his face get lit on fire at Summer Spark. And another Scorpion Ding drop.
Knockout.
I think it's safe to say that Kabuki will not be in the World Heavyweight Championship Contenders Battle Royal here tonight. If he even makes it back into this bout, it's going to be a serious miracle. But it seems like the Dinger, he's been on the hunt. He's been on the prowl for the past 48 hours. He's trying to get closer and closer to whoever his intended target may be. I wonder what his intentions may be from this point forward. We wonder how the rest of that locker room is going to feel, knowing how he feels and where he stands on certain issues. He looks for retribution. He looks to get even once again. Ladies and gentlemen, just as a reminder, we still have a Battle Royal main event here as cameras rolling back to behind the curtain. Parliament isolating one of the challengers. Oliver English, Hostway representing Parliament. looking to take the fight to Nick Flawless. We know that that opportunity was in mind for the secret weapon. Josue Oliver English exhausted his opportunities, and yet here he is in full gear. Josue looking to give up his position in the battle royal to the Monarch. Big Ben followed up by an angel dust on the rampway.
Oliver English, you think you can replace Nick Flawless in this Battle Royal Championship contender? Think again. You won't be getting a world title shot anytime soon, but Mr. Flawless will be getting a piece of you next week. And Josue, the board of directors didn't forget about you, since you chose to be an accomplice to this attack. Your opportunity in this battle royal has been revoked. In fact, we've already found a suitable replacement.
A suitable replacement?
Oh, you didn't know?
And what a way for this to backfire! It looks like Bunker Hill's getting some serious opportunities here tonight. Popo, he's now the American champion, and now there's two members of Bunker Hill in this battle royal. Things couldn't have gone any worse for Parliament. And speaking of the devil, K-Dog being joined by his cohort here, Popcorn Poppy. Popcorn Poppy, we know he's been making the calls as of lately. We know that he wants nothing more than to become the KPW World Heavyweight Champion. He's achieved quite a lot in the time that we've known him. And it looks like these two men are about to be joined by a former World Heavyweight Champion, the star attraction, France's greatest export, Pierre Cinema. He was victorious back at Collision Course just 48 hours ago, defeating Steven Gilbert in a much more convincing fashion than before. And to round out the opening four members of this battle royal, it's the Rhinestone Cowboy himself. It's the Sauce. The Sauce has been holding things down for quite some time. As a Twitch champion, he held on to that championship quite valiantly until last Saturday night at Collision Course when Rey Lucion made his debut and dethroned him in that open challenge. What sort of priorities are Bunker Hill going to have in mind here? Are they going to work together to take out the rest of the competition? As they singled out the Sauce. Here's Cinema taking the fight right to K-Dog. Popcorn Poppy now jumping into fray. Looking to stand up and defend his tag team partner, K-Dog. And look at the history unfolding in the ring already. Who could forget about the wars that Popcorn Poppy waged against the Sauce nearly 1 year ago? Throughout the winter of 2024, heading into the spring of 2025, that culminated in a barbed wire brawl, a hellacious affair for both parties involved. You can see that no love has been lost between those two. Air Cinema, K-Dog, all looking for another world title shot. Popcorn Poppy, the odd man out in this scenario. He has never received a chance like this before. But he's got quite the opportunity, and he's got one hell of a backup crew to make sure that he can get just that much closer to his goals here. But K-Dog, he's already establishing that he's not gonna just hand that opportunity over to him. The Sauce getting taken out of the battle royal here. And what a serious shakeup it's been already. And look who joins the fray. Representing the First Nation, the mastermind, Sigma Shuko. Here, Cinema singling out Shuko. And think of the history those two have in the ring. Dropping him with that starstruck DDT. Typically, a new man entering the Battle Royal, he would be the freshest man of this bout. But Pierce Cinema already redefining that statement as he takes the fight right to Shuko. Bunker Hill cohorts, Popcorn Poppy, K-Dog engaged in a bit of friendly competition. Both fighting for the same opportunity. Truly valuing themselves as equals. Letting the better man win the exchange. Here, Cinema looking to sneak in a quick drop kick. Shuko gets sent tumbling through the ropes here. And he's falling off the apron, and he tumbles down to the floor. That's another elimination for Pierre Cinema. And look at the demeanor of Pierre Cinema. As soon as he heard that music hit, that familiar chime, his attention turned right to the director, Steven Gilbert. And he's just slugging it out with the director. This man put his career in jeopardy over the past several weeks. And he's looking to make him pay for it. And now Bunker Hill's getting involved. Pump handle slam onto Steven Gilbert. This was a man trying to blackmail his way into success. This was a man trying to weasel his way to the top. And look at where it's getting him. If he somehow squeaks away a victory here tonight, how is he going to fare against the Siberian Silver Bear, our KPW World Heavyweight Champion, Pando? We'll have to find out on December 27th, our next monthly special event, Toxicity. any of these four men could potentially make it to that main event with the opportunity of a lifetime, with the fight of their lifetime. And there's still some names that we have yet to see enter this bout. We know for sure that Corey Sinclair, the king of Stego style, will be entering this bout. In the very near future. And one has to wonder, what sort of physical condition is a man like Corey Sinclair going to be in after that barbed wire brawl? He's in quite a fortunate position to not have to start off this battle royal. We know that opportunity has been robbed away from Kabuki. We know that Nick Flawless was supposed to be in this battle royal. SAR struck on the K-Dog. Snap, crackle, and pop onto Steven Gilbert. And he's looking to go back to back on the director. Clock him with a heavy right hook. The director's bell just got rung by Bunker Hill. Steven Gilbert turning his attention back to Pierre Cinema, and you could tell the obsession between these two. It's grown very strong on both ends. Pierre Cinema pushing Steven Gilbert through the middle ropes. A quick jab takes him off his feet. He lost the grip of the top rope. He is out of here. Pierre Cinema taking the time to rub salt in the wound of the director. And what a horrible weekend it's been for Steven Gilbert. And now marching into the match, the other half of the First Nation, the War Machine, Slarty. Cinema, he is just on fire here. He's been taking the fight, providing a lot, all the elimination so far, and he just picked up another one. K-Dog is out of the bout. We are down to our final four. Popcorn Poppy hanging on to that top rope for dear life. And out comes the king of Stego style, Corey Sinclair. Immediately turning his attention to Slarty. Plenty of history between those two men. Slarty's got plenty of history with at least two of these men in this bout, actually. Slarty was the man that put Popcorn Poppy on the shelf for 4 long months with that fractured neck. Courtesy of that one of Slarty's most devastating moves, that buckle bomb. And who can forget the wars that Slarty waged against Corey Sinclair over the Twitch Championship last year, where it all came down and was settled in a steel cage. Corey Sinclair super kicking Slarty, sending him over the top rope and down to the floor. We are down to our final 3. Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm receiving word from the board of directors, coming up next week on War Zone, we'll be seeing Oliver English go one-on-one against Nick Flawless.
Eliminated.
Corey Sinclair has been eliminated from the Battle Royal by Popcorn Poppy. And now Oh, Corey Sinclair trying to take his frustrations out on Slarty on the outside, but we are down to our final two. Also, next week on Warzone, K-Dog solo back in tag team action against the Coney Island Express. Also to come on Warzone next week, a triple threat championship contender, this time for the KPW Twitch Championship. Will be Shuko, Kabuki, and Tape, all challenging for the same opportunity to take on Revolucion for the KPW Twitch Championship at TOXICITY on the 27th. And just confirmed, we'll be seeing quite the familiar affair here as Corey Sinclair will go one-on-one against Slarty for the first time since August of 2024. And that is all next week in just 7 days' time. Popcorn Poppy, Pierre Cinema slugging it out in the ring. We saw what happened the last time these two met. Popcorn Poppy got the better of Pierre Cinema. And we will wait to see if the same will ring true, if we will see the same result here tonight. And you can tell just how badly Popcorn Poppy wants this chance to climb his way up the totem pole and get the opportunity that nobody expected him to ever receive. But Pierre Cinema, he is what we'd like to call a made man. He's seen the top of that mountain. He knows what the summit looks like. He knows what it looks like above the clouds. And he's gonna fight his damnedest to get a good look at that situation, a good look at that setting once again. Popcorn Poppy with the reversal drop kick. Here, Cinema sent back just a little bit, not enough to go through the ropes. Here, Cinema pulling Popcorn Poppy down by his necklace. Double underhook, back breaker onto Popcorn Poppy. Here, Cinema drilling Popcorn Poppy with a starstruck DDT. Well, that's a lot of dead weight to try and lug around. Over the top rope and down to the floor. Here, Cinema realizing the error of his ways here. He needs to keep Popcorn Poppy just remotely conscious enough so he can pick him up and throw him over the top. Popcorn Poppy, he's been in the hunt for quite some time. He's taken one hell of a beating here tonight. Here, Cinema, Popcorn Poppy, they've been in this since the start. And the Kumite form here tonight, they're at an absolute fever pitch here tonight. Here, Cinema with some quick thinking, another starstruck DDT to try and mitigate whatever attempt of a comeback Popcorn Poppy had in mind here. Spinning back elbow, but Popcorn Poppy was too close towards the center of the ring. A quick drop kick from Popcorn Poppy takes Pierre Cinema off that vertical base of his. And this crowd, they are so evenly split here. They know what could be in store for them at toxicity between these two men. We saw Pure Cinema have quite the run-in with Pando all those months ago when he was the world champion. Popcorn Poppy getting sent through the middle ropes there, a drop kick, taking him down. And we have a #1 contender. Popcorn Poppy came so close, and yet he was just so far away. But he proved one thing here tonight. He could hang in there with some of KPW's most elite combatants, and he could go quite the distance. But now, Pando, we're gonna meet Pure Cinema on the outside here, staring down his challenger on the 27th. We're gonna raise Pure Cinema's hand. It looks like these two have been waiting for an opportunity to meet up like this for quite some time. Pure Cinema, he can't believe it. He thought Pando was gonna get the drop on him. But Pando, we know how hungry he is for competition, and he's found himself one hell of a challenger here tonight. What the hell is it gonna look like as we approach Toxicity on the 27th? I've been Tape Styles, the only man that calls the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And we will see you next Monday night for another exciting edition of KPW War Zone. Good night, everybody.